When a soldier first arrived at basic training, he would be issued his first pair of issued shoes. These shoes, and others like it, would serve him through the terrains in which he fought, protecting his feet from the element and the rough ground below him. Bringing footwear into the fold is a vital piece of your uniform. Footwear is one of the most important pieces of your GI impression. Not only are these another part of your base uniform, but making sure you pick the right boots will make or break your time at an event. US GIs were issued multiple different types of footwear throughout the war. As time progressed, much like other pieces of equipment, footwear grew and improved along with the changing needs of the soldiers. In this video, we shall be discussing the basic boots of a GI. More types of boots other than these were issued, but these were the main ones. We shall discuss the more honed-in special boots in a later video. In the early stages of the Second World War, the US Army had started to outfit their troops with the Type II service shoe. These boots were an improvement upon a prior model in order to extend their lifespan. They were designed with a rubber heel and half sole as a way of protecting the leather sole above it. The smooth side of the leather is out, as well as a cap toe on the front. They were intended to be used for both dress and combat use, much like the wool uniform. These boots were used from the early stages of World War II all the way up to about mid-war, when they would eventually be replaced. The Type III Roughout boot, officially recognized as the service shoe reverse upper, was intended to replace the Type II service shoe. Early on in the Type II's development, several flaws were found in the design and were worked to be improved upon. By early 1943, this resulted in a commission for the Type III. They would be a large improvement upon the Type II, specifically their use of the rough side of the leather facing out, hence their nickname Roughouts. This allowed for such things as impregnation of the boot with dubbing, consisting of natural waxes and oils. This would result in the boot being resistant to wet conditions and doing a better job of keeping the soldier's feet dry. Early on in their development, they also had a cap toe, although this would not last long as they would get rid of the cap toe in order to speed up their production. By mid-1944, these would have been the primary piece of footwear seen on the battlefield. However, their service would not last long. When wearing your Type II and Type III styles of footwear, it is important to have a good, quality pair of leggings. The M1938 dismounted leggings replaced the puttees worn during the First World War. The first style of leggings were fitted with brass hardware, but as time progressed, they began to manufacture them with steel to conserve brass for the war effort. The new style of leggings was arguably better due to the fact that they were made of canvas as opposed to wool, and were more secure with an eyelet and hook closing system. However, this piece of equipment was not favored by the GIs by any means. They were an inconvenience as much as they were helpful. They'd be tedious to don. Should you need to remove them to change your socks or remove debris from inside your boot, the process took just as long. Their purpose was to be worn over the boot and pants to prevent any debris from entering the soldier's boot and provide a layer of protection to the lower part of the soldier's leg. It was found that over time, soldiers would adapt to the struggles of using leggings by cutting them down so they would take less time to take on and off. But a good number of the soldiers left them intact the way they were issued. Inconvenient or not, they're an absolute necessity for any infantryman impression. Leggings were sized based upon the distance around the soldier's calf muscle at the top of the legging. To measure your calf, simply wrap measuring tape around the beefiest part and find where it lies. The sizes measure as follows: 1R is 15 inches, 2R is 16 inches, 3R 17 inches, and 4R 18 inches. Also, for those with larger calf sizes, reproduction companies have produced larger sized leggings, 5R 19 inches, and 6R 20 inches. Most well known as the double buckle boot, these were the final piece of standard issue footwear pushed out by the Army during the war. Leggings were always a major complaint among troops in the service. The Army was looking for a suitable substitute for them very early on in the war. From this would be created the double buckles. Instead of a separate canvas piece, they would incorporate a leather cuff that extended the length of the boot with two straps that closed the cuff by buckles. The Army would approve of the design in 1943, and by January of 1944, they made their first official contract for them. The first massive shipment would arrive in July of 44, and would start to be issued among divisions in the ETO. By late fall into the winter, these were the most common pair to see overseas. Much like the Type III boots, These would have a rough side facing out in order to be used for dubbing. They would consist of a full rubber sole, with the cuff having smooth leather facing out. As much as you need leggings and boots, socks will also be required. Unfortunately, there are currently no companies that reproduce a good quality pair of GI-issued socks. It isn't uncommon for socks to have been found, stolen, or sent to them from back home. Socks would preferably be made out of wool. This is due to wool's moisture-wicking and quick-drying natural properties. Knit socks are a completely appropriate item to wear and use for your impression. Aside from knit socks, you can get away with using brown, OD green, a thick cream, or oatmeal-colored socks as a fine alternative. While your socks are one of the least visible parts of your impression, it is frowned upon for using modern-day socks with logos such as Nike or Adidas. On the topic of socks, always be sure to bring multiple pairs. You should be changing your socks every day at any event, if not multiple times a day, to ensure your feet stay healthy and dry. Trench foot was, and still is, a real thing. It is extremely painful and dangerous. Take care of your feet while attending reenactments. Now that we have all those historical details out of the way, let's get into where to purchase these items. Much like we did with our wool uniform video, we will be ranking these items in least expensive to most expensive. When thinking of footwear, two companies come to mind in the reenacting community, and that is SM Wholesale and At the Front. There are other companies such as World War II Impressions and many others, but when you think of the most widely used, At the Front and SM Wholesale are the favorites. SM Wholesale is an American company based out of California that manufactures classic World War II uniforms and gear. They have been used by many Hollywood productions for their uniforms and footwear, such as Saving Private Ryan, Band of Brothers, The Pacific, Fury, Greyhound, and many others. SM Wholesale offers all three of the basic impression boots we discussed earlier in the video. Their boots are made out of good quality leather, they're comfortable, take dubbing very easily, and ship quickly to your home. They offer men's sizes 7 to 14 in all three styles of boot. They even offer some half sizes. The soles of the boots are made of good quality rubber as well. Their boots are usually in good supply, and they will keep their website very up to date with their availability. The cons of ordering SM Wholesale are that these boots are made outside of the USA, and the quality of the leather is just not as good as its competitor. The overall build of the boot is good, but occasionally leaves something to be desired. For instance, the double buckle boots are missing a lace eyelet, which is not true to the original pattern, and the design of the boot during the time period. Another small but important detail to recognize is that SM Wholesale sends the shoes with modern laces that are not as sturdy as At the Front's original World War II unissued nylon laces they send with their boots. With all this in mind, let's move to our other option. At the Front is also an American company based out of Kentucky. Another very well-known manufacturer of World War II reproductions, At the Front is most well known for their high-quality, USA-made leather footwear. At the Front offers all three styles of boots, just like SM Wholesale. The structure and overall build of the boots is lovely, using authentic soles and build patterns as they did during the war. They fit comfortably, take dubbing and leather dyes very well. They offer their boots in male sizes 8D to 13D. Every pair of boots, as mentioned before, comes with original, unused boot laces, which is always a nice touch. The boots even come delivered in an authentic quartermaster cardboard box. The At the Front boots are all about the little details. Now, what are some cons about ordering from At the Front? Well, first off, the price difference is quite steep between the two companies. At the Front boots being made in the USA are going to be much more expensive to manufacture when being domestically produced. At the Front boots are usually in such high demand that they are frequently out of stock of many sizes. More recently, due to the issues of COVID, the USA company that At the Front usually outsources to make their boots is not going to be taking orders from them anymore. So we could see an extreme shortage of these boots from At the Front in the near future. When purchasing your footwear, it is important to take all of these points into consideration. Now, let's move on to what GIs hate most: leggings. As much as they are disliked by GIs and reenactors alike, a good pair of leggings is absolutely required in this hobby. There are plenty of reproduction companies that make leggings for similar prices. To list some, we have At the Front, SM Wholesale, World War II Impressions, What Price Glory, and many others. Beside reproduction companies, millions of pairs of leggings were produced before, during, and after the war, and are still extremely plentiful and common to find in good, usable condition. Buying high-quality leggings will ensure they are the proper color and will not fall apart on you halfway through a battle. Please keep in mind, picking the right or wrong type of footwear can make or break not only your own time at an event, but the actual health of your feet. Ensuring you purchase high-quality, sturdy, well-reviewed shoes ensures you will not sustain injuries related to your footwear. It isn't just extremely inconvenient losing your sole at an event, it could be very dangerous. With all of that being said, we hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to stay tuned for our future episodes.
And remember, you're in the army now, you're not behind the plow. You'll never get rich while digging a ditch, you're in the army now. You're in the army now, you're in the army now. You'll never get rich on the salary which you get in the army now.